Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Yes, it's today is the 21st of July, 2023, broadcasting to you live from the Center of the Aerospace Testing Universe, and specifically, I mean, it kind of looks like we're airborne hanging in front of that gorgeous airplane.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But we're in the PA studios here on main base at Edwards, as I have been for, gosh, can you believe it's been approaching 2 months?
Yes, sir.
Swiss, yeah,
Oh
Chief
gosh.
Jeremy Swistak, Stunt Double Command Chief. We got an update for you in a little later in the broadcast on that, but he talked me in to one more broadcast. So here I am, folks.
Yes, sir.
This is your last chance live to get me a question or yet another question that I can't answer. So let's put the number up right now. It's area code 707-412-8922. Nope, not that one. Area code 707-412-8922. If you have a question or a comment or something you'd like to get to us or from us, text it in. We'll put them up in a batting order and hopefully get your questions answered. We got a lineup for you today that we want to push out and brag on some folks, and then have a surprise or maybe not a surprise later in the video.
Yes, sir.
As we talk about things to do this weekend. So Swiss, I'll let you introduce our wows.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have a couple awesome wows here today. Both work in security forces, and the first one is A1C. Oh, I'm going to mess it up. Cisneros. I'm not going to mess it up. All right, perfect. Yeah, welcome to the broadcast. Nice to meet you and see you around. I know I've seen you around in your area when visiting the formations, but it's good to see you out here and nominated for this awesome opportunity.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little about what you do?
So yeah, I am a CSS technician over here in the 412 Security Forces. I pretty much work in direct line with the unit commander. So all the programs that kind of come through, leave web, manning authorizations, all the kind of like programs that run behind the scenes, that's kind of what I deal with.
Awesome. Did you say just? You didn't say just, did you? Because you do.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't.
He did.
Yes, sir.
Humility is a good characteristic. But,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what's it? I've wondered, because occasionally I get through security forces units, but I've wondered what's it like to be not a defender with all the defenders 24/7.
That's
You're
a really
3
good
of 5,
question.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what's it like?
It's interesting. This is.
Did you hear that?
They have security forces definitely keeps our hands full. You know, they have a lot of questions, and even though I'm not in direct line with them, working with them, doing the gates and all that kind of stuff, you know, I bleed with them too. You know, so I like to just be an open book for them when they come in, answer all the questions, especially with like EPR stuff when it comes to like SCOT dates and everything like that. That's just kind of how it is. I'm just customer support, customer service for them and everything. Mm-hmm.
So you are a member of a work center, work team that was very ubiquitous across the Air Force, 20-something years ago. My first operational unit at OSUN had a very robust, what we would call CSS today, and that was when the fighter squadron had all the pilots and all the life support and all the maintainers. The back shops were in the logistics group. There wasn't even a maintenance group back then.
That's right.
So yeah, our squadron commander, 05 squadron commander, had a front office that was 2, 3, 4 of you at the squadron level. So this is in the, tell you how old I am, late 90s. Bounced to the second unit, a little bit smaller unit, same thing, but it was a minimum of 2 or 3, what we would now know as 3 F5s. And then there was the great schism, the great whatever you want to call it, where maintenance went back to maintenance and the logistics groups flipped into maintenance groups, and we've been relatively static there. But there are 2 squadrons that are big enough here that we have what I would call a traditional CSS, and one of them is Security Forces, and the other one is the 412th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron. And so those are kind of, when I walk back into those front offices, it's like, wow, it's like a flashback into the 90s and early aughts.
Absolutely.
And I envisioned when our previous Chief of Staff, General Goldfein, said, I want to revitalize squadrons, I want to get the CSS back. That's what I believe he was talking about, and he wanted to get that back together. We haven't quite gotten back to the glory days, but you're a part of a neat team that not a lot of other airmen see, either in the CSS or in their units. So really enjoy it, and remind the folks that you work with that aren't a 3F5 that you're lucky to have me. There's a lot of peers that they don't have an orderly room or front office or whatever it is.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, remind them that. They'll appreciate that when they bounce into another squadron as a shirt or a special duty assignment or something. So good stuff. So Sergeant Shannon.
Yes, sir.
I finally got you to smile. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you do here, what you did, and then you're both going to have to ask us questions. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So over to you.
So I was recently the NCOIC, the Armory over here at the Security Forces Squadron. I just recently transitioned over to combat arms, so I got my red hat back.
Yeah.
Back to teaching, back to instructing, which I love to do, and I'm the assistant NCOIC over there.
And when you see colonels and generals showing up for requal, gonna be a fun day or gonna be a uh-oh?
It depends on how their mood is, honestly. It's
I
usually
like that.
fun to have them come out to shoot, and a lot of people, a lot of generals and officers, it's been years before they fired before,
yeah.
and it's good to, it's like riding a bike, so you never forget it, and then once you go back out there and they get on the range, their first round goes down range, it's like a warm feeling for them, so they get back into the gist of things.
Yeah, it takes me the first full clip, but
Absolutely.
no, I hear you. I hear you.
You get that
Yes.
muscle memory.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, where's that button again?
Right.
I like to key in on what you said, like how they show up, or what they come with. It's attitude, right? The attitude they show up with. Like, just listen to your instructor, listen to what they do, keep the weapon pointed down range,
Right.
right? And attitude's such an important thing. So
Absolutely.
I liked how you you keyed in on that. That's awesome.
Absolutely. I believe in that if they're comfortable in the classroom portion, they'll be a lot more comfortable on the range. The last thing we want to do is have a weapon safety incident happen out there.
Absolutely.
So the more comfortable they are in the classroom, it makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you commit to something right here on camera, and it'll be recorded forever. You ready?
Yeah, sir.
Are you guys actually gonna let me clean my weapon next time I'm out there?
Absolutely.
I keep
right.
asking. No, sir. I really want to clean my own.
It's recorded,
my
so-
own firearm. So there you go. You're gonna.
Yes, sir. I
And
will walk
if
you
I'm
through
not
it.
good at it, you'll tell me.
I will walk you through it step by step.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We got it here.
White
That's-
glove inspection and everything, sir.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. This is one I want to keep for a long time.
Yes,
so
sir.
That'll be great. And I'm not afraid of it. No, we got it. We'll take care of it.
Right.
So that's fantastic. All right. How long have you been at Edwards, Sergeant Shannon?
This month actually makes 2 years. I recently came from Minot Air Force Base. This is my 5th assignment. I was over at Aviano Air Base at first, Osan, Korea for a year, went over to McGuire for 5 years, and then Minot now here.
Been a minute.
It has.
Yeah, that's a good bounce around the world. Like
It has.
3 different AORs. How was the nuke base?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. A lot of people, get in the habit of saying they hate Minot. I met some of the greatest people in my life out there.
There you go.
My daughter was born in Minot. I had some of the best leadership that was in my career out there before, and I absolutely loved every single second of it.
Yeah, so Cisneros, I bet this is your base of a session, right?
Yes, sir.
First one.
It's my first base, first year in the military too.
So you would do very well to listen to Sergeant Shannon about Osan and Minot and not listen to the stereotype,
Right.
right?
The haters.
And then, yep, right. And when you get to your next base and you hear that, it's maybe not as bad as it is for Minot, but I mean, Edwards, people ain't beating down the door to get here like many are to Eglin. I tell them earthquakes are better than hurricanes, so what's your problem?
Absolutely.
But so you can take that forward. But like no joke, I think Osan is fantastic. My wife was stationed there twice. We actually met there as lieutenants. I don't mind Northern Tier stuff, and I was at Eielson for a while. So when people complain about cold.
We share the Eielson piece.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
when people start talking about cold, I'm like, what's your number?
Right.
What's your number? What's your number?
Negative
Minus
59.
what? 59. What's yours?
62.
Chief?
I've got a picture of it going in
62?
the front gate, Eielson. It was a normal day.
67.
Oh, he
wind-
wins.
Minus
the wind chill.
67. Yeah, no wind chill.
Oh, wow.
No
No, that's
wind
just
chill,
straight
ambient.
temperature. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Eielson got
I don't miss it.
cold.
I definitely don't miss it.
so I don't mind the cold because you can always layer up.
Right.
But when the Flintstone tires, or the vehicle doesn't start because the oil's all sludge, or those kinds of things, those get a little annoying.
Right.
But you can always layer up. So cool. So questions for us, and you're gonna and you have to ask at least one. If it's a tough question, Swiss is gonna answer it. If it's a softball, maybe I'll take a swing at it. What you got?
So I do have one question. I've had quite a few people around the base ask me. We used to have a gun and rod club here.
Yes.
So there's been talks about potentially opening up the range again.
Yeah, right in your
for
neighborhood.
Base
Yeah.
populace. What are your thoughts on us actually getting that started pretty soon?
My thoughts are that I'm not going to be the boss here very soon, so I am very happy to write that check.
Absolutely.
Right. So I assume that would be through FSS, but I'm guessing.
It is absolutely through
Yeah.
FSS, yes, sir.
So you're talking. You got the right chief here.
That's right.
When he stops stunt doubling and goes back to MSG to say, hey, there's interest. But that's really what it boils down to. We can do anything quality life here, but there's got to be a sustained interest in it, or we can't devote the resources
Right.
to it. And often things like Aero Club, Rod and Gun Club, you name it, those items just take a core group of people that use it regularly, and then it starts to grow naturally, and then it gets big enough that it sustains combustion.
Absolutely.
And so my thought is, heck yeah, let's do that. But if it's 2, 3, 4, 5 people and they show up once or twice a month, that's not worth the investment of time, and even if there's any resources, certainly not worth that. But if you got 5, 6, 7 dozen and they all show up 2 or 3 times a month, now we're getting somewhere. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you.
so that's my initial thought, and you let me know how it goes.
Will do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll leave that for Colonel Wickert and the Swiss back at MSG. So
Okay, will
good
do.
stuff.
Yes, sir.
We'll be in
Right.
contact.
All right,
Yeah,
all right,
let's-
Cisneros.
let's talk.
What do you want to know? What's your question?
What are the chances of getting like a shell outside in like the track? So if our members are conducting like a PT, since we're out here in the desert, I think weather gets over 100 degrees.
A shell.
to kind
So
of
what's?
prevent-
I guess I'm gonna have to plead ignorance on a shell.
Like something to kind of cover up the track, so that way when we have members,
Like
running that.
Around the track.
Yes, sir. Yes. With the AC unit
So the
and
question, you want this one or do you want me to take it? I got an answer.
If you have an answer, sir, please. Yes, sir.
So the question that you asked, and I don't know if this is what you meant, but the question you asked was, what are the chances, right? And the answer to the what are the chances question of that is very low.
everything. Okay.
Would you like to know why?
Yes, sir. Why?
Okay, beautiful. That's why can we not get a? That to me is the more interesting thing. He's now retired, and he retired from the Air Force Materiel Command job. Arnie Bunch, General United States Air Force. When he was a captain here at Test Pilot School, he's a B-52 pilot, right? So I don't know where his operational assignments were, but we could probably look that up. He walked in the gym, that same building, and said, "Wow, this gym is old and needs to be replaced."
Yeah.
As a captain, so he retires at I think just shy of 40 years. So 30 years later, and it's still the same building. So we do what we can in it. We are taking a new tact, a new strategy on how to replace the building. And instead of replacing the whole building, we're going to replace the building and the facility at what is called unspecified minor military construction, UMMC. And those limits are growing. Not every year, but they grow often. So they're in single-digit millions of dollars. And if you do that, you have to go through all the MILCON processes. Except if you have the money, you can spend it like MILCON. It doesn't have to be MILCON dollars. And I'll probably just butchered a couple things that CE or FM will correct me on. But the bottom line is for that, it'd be something like that we would roll in as a requirement to the next upgrade or the next iteration of what we do to the facility. So like a new entrance or an updated locker room or knock down a wall and make a bigger spin room or things like that. Yeah. And that would be one of the items we drop on top of that. So what are the chances? Low, but what did I not say? I didn't say 0.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now.
Let's hope.
Yep, exactly. And so if that's what we decide to do and that's what the requirement is and that's what the demand is, fantastic. Now, have you seen many of the canopies that have been here for like a year and a half, 2 years? Have you seen any that have been out that long?
They get destroyed.
Yeah, they do. They do.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a big sale and it gets flipped. So the structure would be a one-time install, and then we'd have to put it in sustainment mode to put a new one on every so often. So certainly possible. Now, candidly, this place is great. About 30 minutes before sunset until about an hour after sunrise, even in the summer. Now, if you are I got to run it at 1,300 every day kind of guy, then you're right. It's gonna.
It's a little bit painful.
It's gonna be warm, right? But the beautiful thing about the high desert, without a lot of the thermal inertia around of a big city, is that once the sun is no longer beating down on you, as I'm sure you're aware, it's fantastic. 30-ish degree temperature swings plus. Every day, and in the winter that ain't so great, but right now it is fantastic.
Right.
So there's the interim solution. The long-term solution is kind of like the Rod and Gun Club, feed in the requirements, and the more we hear that will be used, the more we can elevate that up the requirements process.
Okay.
Any additional thoughts or corrections you want to?
No, I don't think any corrections, sir.
Sign a check for Major Johnson.
Yeah, that's right. We do have, and I don't want to get too far ahead of anything, but we do have some minor military construction changes coming to the fitness center soon. Nothing's been set in stone. I believe the money's been set aside. I don't want to get ahead of that, but so some changes are coming. Some major refurb in there, so it'll be good. It will not get to what you're looking for, like some kind of cover or shade, if you will, over the running surface. But the entirety of the inside of the gym will be refreshed, which is, I think it's great news and something we definitely need here.
Yeah, and I mean, sunshade to prevent the new track from decaying, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So,
there we
so
go.
there you go. Throw that requirement
Save
in.
the Air Force a lot of money.
Oh, there you go. You don't have to redo the track. So good stuff. Hey, I every time I go through the gate, every time I'm in the building, I always what I say, love on some defenders. You guys are fantastic.
right.
I really enjoy learning a little bit about where you're from, your Air Force stories, and I'm making you an honorary defender, Cisneros, because you'd be in the building, right? Just like the section commander, that lieutenant's an honorary defender as well. And I think if you really behave, they might give you a beret on a plaque.
Yeah.
Can't wear it, but you can put it on a plaque. So that'd be a good goal there. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're on the team. Thanks for many assignments. I look forward to seeing where you go after this. I'm sure it's going to be another couple awesome places.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
For
Happy
sure.
Friday, you two.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Yeah,
Very
thanks
proud
for
of you.
coming on. Good seeing you guys again.
Okay. While they're rotating out, we're gonna talk about a couple things, and then get in our next discussion, our discussers. One of the things that I want to foot stomp today, that happened yesterday too, but we had two big events, Swiss.
Yes, sir.
And I tried not to cross my wires on all my speech writing, but yesterday was the operations group change command.
Yes, sir.
So we now have a free agent running around with a call sign missile. Think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have an assignment. He's taking some leave, and then he'll show back up here as the Air Force Test Center Vice Commander. So Colonel Grant Mizell handed off to Colonel Ryan Sanford. He goes by Hulk, and I've worked with him before. He's a very soft-spoken guy, and when you're that big, you kind of don't have to talk louder a lot.
Don't have to be loud.
Yeah,
He definitely lives up to Hulk.
He
Yes, sir.
absolutely does. I don't know this, but I'm told he doesn't turn green in the gym. But I mean, we can.
I can see him turning green.
We could do that, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So that was OG yesterday, and then today was test pilot school. So as I was preparing for my remarks this morning, I'm like, how many times have I been? Oh yeah, it was, let's see, when I took command at TPS, when I gave command at TPS. Oh yeah, and the one between there when Colonel Pabon took command, and then yesterday. So I've actually been a part of the last 4 change command ceremonies at test pilot school, and it's such a great unit with such a great mission.
Yes, sir.
It's a I'll say low density but extremely high demand unit. I thought Colonel Val Piani, knocked a solid double or triple when he talked about the value of testers, test
Yes.
leaders.
Yes, sir.
And he is. You're going to hear it. If you weren't there and you didn't watch it, the hangar was pretty full. It's 1207 with F-16s doing engine starts out on the flight line.
It was beautiful.
It
Freedom.
was. It
Yes,
was.
sir.
It was the sound of freedom.
Yes,
and I
sir.
yelled a little louder, and I think everybody heard me. But his analogy, and we did not coordinate talking points, but his analogy dovetailed very nicely with hey, we got to take this seriously. Right? I said a little bit more about it yesterday than I did today, but I hit both speeches. What are you doing,
Yes, sir.
Swiss? What am I doing today? What are you doing today to ensure that today is not December 6, 1941?
Yes, sir.
Right? And that's a real thing. And you ought to think about and know and work at what you can do today, and then empower and engage and enable other members of our society, not just our military, to ensure that we never wake up that tomorrow is never again a Pearl Harbor day or worse.
Yes, sir.
And it's a real competition. Our adversary is very real, and they're very intense about taking over the world monetary system, converting the dollar into their currency, and pretty much ignoring the world-based orders, the rules-based orders in the post-World War II era. And the longer we just sit around and think that'll never happen, the more likely it is to happen.
It's called complacency. Yes,
It
sir.
is, and I'm genuinely concerned when I look at the trend lines that our nation doesn't have a sense of urgency. I see that sense of urgency around the people that I work with, in the Air Force certainly, the Space Force as well, most of the services in the Defense Industrial Complex most of the time.
Yes, sir.
But boy, when I leave that bubble and I get outside the military part of our elements of national power, I don't see it.
No.
And I think that's a real risk. And so anytime you can promulgate or propagate the we are in a competition, and it's a real competition, and it has some real consequences. Because I don't want my kids to be forced to read, write, or speak in that language.
Yes, sir.
So big deal. But 2 huge ceremonies, great leaders changing out. I'm really excited to see where TPS gets drugged by Colonel Valpiani, and I don't think it's going to be a drag. I think he's going to build up his vision, learn a lot from the folks there, and move on. Another thing that's really important to foot stomp from TPS today is that if you look back 3 years, and what can you do in one assignment? What can you possibly do in 3 years? Oh, I don't know. Stand up a whole space test course.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happened under Colonel Pabone's leadership. Like literally, when she took the guide on in July of 20, we had run 0 Guardians through there.
Yes, sir.
And here we are, stabilized in a year-long space test course, just 3 years later. So yeah, a lot of change can happen in one tour of a powerful, focused, and professional, trustworthy senior leader commandant. And I think we're going to see one more in a long line, with maybe one exception a couple ago, of folks that really take that seat seriously.
Yes, sir.
So it was great. It was 2 good days of those ceremonies, and I appreciate everyone that participated again. So, all right, those are my big events, or 2 of my big events for the week. But we have another item that it's time to give an update on.
Yes.
So if she's watching, or if she watches this later, shout out to D. Ward Swanigan, Chief. This is for you. So let's pivot over to these 2, and why don't you guys give us an update on, you're not Test, you're the PCS team.
That's right.
All right, let's pivot over, and we'll talk about Test next. Let's show these 2 fine airmen that are with us. And if you haven't seen it yet, we, the Air Force, have figured out how to fund selective retention bonuses, PCSs,
Yes.
aviation reporting, all those kinds of things. And we had these folks scheduled to come on to talk about, we don't have the money, now what, right? So you guys were probably doing this is not going to be fun. I'm not interested in those questions, right? But now we have the money. Good to go, right?
So you're here to spread the good news, right?
Yes, we are, sir.
Yeah, okay. So it changed today. The memo I saw was signed today. Anything you want to push to the crowd, and as to include where to go look for that?
Yes, sir. So, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Team Edwards and Edwards Air Force Space Leadership. I am Master Sergeant Lyndon Bell. I'm the MPF Flight Chief from the 412th Force Support Squadron. I'm also here alongside our assignments NCOIC, Staff Sergeant J.D. Gardner. So initially, we were invited today to talk about the PCS budget funding deficit. However, some good news was released via the airforce.mil website from the Secretary of the Air Force Public Affairs that we now receive funding. Sergeant Gardner, would you like to start?
Sure. So starting next week, the SRB bonus and aviation bonuses will be reinstated. Additionally, all PCS authentication will begin for the rest of fiscal year 23.
When you say PCS authentication,
So anyone-
authenticating orders, validating the fund side.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry for the new guy question, but
Oh, yes, absolutely. We didn't get the chance to talk about the pause, but previously, only orders in July were being handled for any CONUS movers.
So no more
now-
pause. Orders are going through, yes?
yeah.
Correct, for the
Okay.
rest of fiscal year
year.
23, yes.
Awesome. Okay. I cut you off. Back to what else you want to push to the crowd, and then Chief and I have probably a couple clarifying questions, kind of predict what the crowd might want to know, and then anything else you want to push.
Okay.
This is a good news moment, right?
It
Yes.
This is a
Yes,
huge
sir.
positive
Yes, sir.
turn of events
Yes, sir.
between the time we asked you guys to show up and today. So I'm very relieved. So anyway,
Same here.
back to you.
Yes, so additionally, the following programs have been reinstated that were suspended. The DROS Management Program, the Selective Reenlistment Bonus Program, the Aviation Bonus Program, and finally, the Assignment Incentive Pay and the Foreign Language Proficiency Assignment Pay. For the DROS Management Program, the members that were extended from October and December to January and March of 2024, that will still be in effect. However, airmen may request an ETP, exception to policy, and it just needs to be signed off by the wing commander. It does not have to go to the MAJCOM deputy commander anymore, just the wing commander.
Yeah. So
For-
real quick,
Yes, sir.
so that's a factor for inbound folks to Edwards, right?
Yes, sir.
Many folks listening either may not have ever been overseas, or you may not understand what DROS is. So you want to talk about DROS? It's an acronym, like all good words in the
Yeah,
military.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
if you
sir.
don't, I might be able to pull it out of the
School
cobwebs.
us up,
Yes.
if you can.
Whenever you're overseas, every member, once you get stationed over, you get assigned a DROS date. So if you're stationed there for 2 years or 3 years, from the time that you arrive. So if I arrived at, say, Ramstein Air Base on the 21st of July, 2023, and I'm there single, I would have a 2 years, 2 years from that day, DEROS day. So it would end on 21 July, 2025. So that's the date that I would have to PCS out by, get a new assignment by. For in a situation like this, if I was overseas, if my DEROS date was in August, well, in August, I mean, you could be correct, in October, it would have been extended out to January of 2024, involuntary extended.
Yeah, and DEROS, folks, is just a date eligible return from overseas.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what
Yes, sir.
DEROS stands for.
sir.
At long overseas assignments, it's a month. So and it's within the month. But when you're on a short tour, at least it was when I was there, they go to either halves of months or thirds of months. So you don't lose a lot of that 1 year assignment. So for example, when I was at Osan as a lieutenant, if you arrived in the last third of the month, you couldn't leave in the first third of the month 12 months later, because you effectively turned your 12-month tour into an 11-month tour, and that would reduce manning on the peninsula. So DEROS is a real thing, and it's all overseas, not just remote. And it's I would say much more driving, I would assume, at remote locations today, just like it was a minute or two ago when I was last at a remote assignment. But that's good news. But one of the things that I think is also good news, as we understand how this change is being, how the change to the change is being implemented, is we're trying to minimize the number of changes, right? So it's not just kidding, back to what it was. No, if your DEROS got extended, they got extended.
Yeah.
But the waiver approval level went down pretty dramatically.
Yes, sir.
And that's great. So if you are a flight chief or a section commander or anything, unit commander or command team, and you've got an inbound member with a DEROS, you can contact the losing unit and say, hey, we'd like to start working a waiver with you on that inbound member. And if you are somebody overseas that was like elated that you got your DEROS extended, then I probably wouldn't be asking. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
let it ride.
Do not
yeah.
ask.
yeah. So, any other big updates that hit today?
Yes, sir. So, go ahead.
Additional to that, if you have noticed that your report date did get changed and you are in the CONUS, AFPC will be releasing more information next week with any members that are still affected by the pause. So additional to the DEROS being extended out, RNLTDs did get updated. Several of our members were affected, and at this time, their report dates are still the same.
Sweet. Yeah, I've got somebody that works for me that was worried about his projected departure date, and it was in August. I advised him, just relax. I think you're gonna still get out of town just fine. Your orders are authenticated. They got money. He's like, yeah, but I can't go any earlier. I'm like, well, that's true, because I'm not going to ask the AFPC commander for the ATP. But now, for example, an earlier PDD, is that back to us, or is it still with AFPC? Do you know that
It is
answer
back
yet?
to us.
Okay.
Good.
So if he can meet all the criteria, then that member may have a chance to get out of Dodge.
Yes, sir.
Right, and anybody else in a similar scenario.
Yes, sir.
That's good news. Any big hanging chads or questions that haven't been asked or answered yet to your satisfaction? With the update, and it's
With this-
literally less than a duty day. So
With this specific update, there wasn't any mention regarding separations and retirements that were affected, so we're still standing by regarding that.
okay, all
And
right.
they did state more information will come down starting next week. I do know that they pushed some message out to the MASCOM leadership saying that they're trying to work on more guidance following up next week.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. Well, Chief, this was a first for me.
Yes, sir.
And I'd actually never seen the mill purse pot run dry.
Yeah. It was-
Now there were times when it was never filled,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
In October. So there were those kind of moments. But this was a first for me. So we're adaptive, we're agile. Showed some resilience as a system. The resilience trickles down to units. So if you have somebody affected, or you're aware of somebody affected, please make sure they get this information, and then they ask the experts at the FSS and the MPF the questions if they have any, and give your supervisor or your commander the front office a chance first.
That's right. Yes,
Because
sir.
they may already have that, and by front office I mean your unit front office. The wing doesn't probably have any more answers than anybody else around, and we'll just refer you to MPF anyway. So
That's right. Yes,
but
sir.
It's good news, good update. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm sorry I got you out of the batting order, but I'm glad you're here. Anything you got for us, or any other topics? Well, you got a captive audience, a chief and the boss.
Actually, no, sir, we do not.
Right.
We do
Okay.
not. We
No,
do not.
we're good. Thank
All
you.
right.
Sir. Thank
Well, happy Friday. I appreciate everything
Happy
you
Friday.
two do
Yes, sir.
and your
Happy
whole
Friday.
shop does. all the time, not just when it's these odd or unique stressing moments. So,
Yes, sir.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thanks
Okay.
for coming on.
All right. If you have questions or comments, there's the number across the bottom of the screen, 707-412-8922. So text it in, text in a comment, text in your question. All right. Now we're going to rotate
Yes, sir.
to test. All right. So Team Edwards Squadron Throwdown.
Yes,
Am I
sir.
getting that right?
That's perfect.
I
Yes,
get it
sir.
right just in time to never have to be in a broadcast and remember it again. But I can remember the word. I just can't remember what the word stands for. I thought it was brilliant. Chief Ward Swanigan was, check this out, sir, and she also is regretting that she's not going to be able to be here to watch it employ. But we got a big update, so we'll pull the folks that want to talk about that on screen as they swap mics and get everything ready. Chief, we got some FSS events to talk about while they're
Yes,
doing
sir.
that
Yeah,
swap out.
well,
If you
they're-
want to hit those.
Yeah, let's.
So let's make Swiss read some charts. You can pull up maybe karaoke or one of the other ones from the club. There you go, Chief.
All right, today, the 21st, this evening, Club Muroc Karaoke. It's always a good time. Come in and while you're in there, you can check out the new the remodel we just had finished in Fogelman's Lounge. It's beautiful. The floors are brand new. The bars are brand new. It's really nice in there. Then you can get behind the mic and test out your vocal skills and sing some of your favorite songs. It's always a good time. Moving on to bingo. It's also tonight, Club Muroc, 6 p.m. or 1800, whichever way you tell time. You can see there it's relatively a small price to pay to play some bingo and win some prizes. Then I think we're going to round out with Rockfest. So we have Skillet, Hoobastank, and I've never heard of them, but the Dirty Hook's coming on. Surely many people out there watching this broadcast and in the crowd have heard of the first two, Hoobastank and Skillet. It'll be a good time. Come out. It's free. It'll be on, I believe we're putting it out in Wingsfield. Just be a great time for everybody, so come on out.
Yeah, so Chief Swistak is like, oh yeah, it's got these 3 bands, blah, 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 blah. And the first time I heard the list, I'm like, yeah, he's totally pulling my leg.
No leg pulling, sir.
Yeah. So not only count me in the category of Dirty Hooks, but Hoobastank and Skillet are also new to me too. But folks, Wingsfield is legit. The stage there is legit. The party venue is legit. It will be a very similar setup to what we just did for Summerfest.
That's right. Yes, sir.
It will not have kids going crazy in combat egg search, but it'll be the same location if you were at Egg Extravaganza. It's that same. It's Wingsfield, nice grassy area, stands, trees to block the wind until it's a little bit later, and it should be
And Summer Bash.
pretty long show.
Or Summer, yeah, Summer.
Yeah, we just did Summer Bash on the 4th of July there, yes.
sir.
And then generally we have a whole bunch of private orgs that are trying to fatten you up while they raise money. And then you also have some sponsors there. I'll tell you, I was with the PA team up at one of our sponsors. It was Adventist Health up in Tehachapi.
Yes.
I was there earlier this week. They are very interested, very excited to increase their partnership with and on Edwards Air Force Base. They're in, I'll say, early stages of trying to set up something that resembles urgent care. They didn't say it wasn't, they didn't say urgent care clinic, they said urgent care like. And the facility or location right now that they're thinking about is the one in Rosamond.
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
Another reminder, folks, everybody is familiar with Antelope Valley Hospital, even though it's not AVH anymore, it's Antelope Valley Regional Medical Center.
Yes, sir.
And then other people have heard of Palmdale Regional Medical Center. So Antelope Valley and Palmdale, the two hospitals. But as you know, if you drive these at all, it's about the same drive time from anywhere on base up the hill to Tehachapi to the Adventist Health Hospital as it is to go to Palmdale.
Yes,
now,
sir.
the closest emergency room, the closest care at that level, and the only trauma center close to us is at AVH. So if you're in doubt, go there, hit the emergency room, and get to that elevated level of care. And that's also where our ambulances are going to take you by default.
Yes, sir.
But if you have a choice, it's about the same drive to Palmdale as it is to Adventist Health. So my thought or my recommendation is call ahead and go, hey, what's the wait? And
Yes,
if you
sir.
go, then you call the other one and go, what's the wait? And there you go. You have some choices. And a lot of people don't realize that Adventist Health is up the hill because they drive by on 14, AVH, and Palmdale Regional all the time.
That's a normal route for most people. Yes.
It is. And it's a much smaller hospital, but it's a full-up hospital. Not a trauma center, but they are full up, so including an ER. And they are trying to build connections and ties with folks down and around Channel Lake and here at Edwards. And it's a great team. And they are sponsors of things like Summerfest, and they are going to be sponsors of this Rockfest, and I think they're going to be a genuine long-term partner. So that was what I learned earlier this week, and I'm excited.
That's good
All
news,
right.
sir. Yes, sir.
I'm told we have a world debut. Is that true, gentlemen?
Yes,
World
sir.
debut.
we do.
Let's do
All
it.
right, Captain, sure, roll it out.
Exciting.
No drum roll, no.
This is the excitement. Familiar faces in this video.
Where Chief Ward Swanigan retired was, hey, it's coming soon. So I saw now we have a date.
Yes, sir.
So pound the date
October
home.
13th.
Pound it home.
October 13th.
October 13th.
October 13th.
Is it a Friday?
That is a
That
Friday.
is, yes.
It is a Friday.
Right.
Friday the 13th.
Exactly, see? So there you go. And you said up to how many teams?
12.
Up to 12 teams.
Yes, sir.
And so if I'm like, hey, first I've heard of this.
Yeah.
How I can hit that QR code, but I hit the QR code and it's going to ask me for team of 10, team of 3. What's the setup?
Yes, sir. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Master Sergeant Mata, First Sergeant over at the Med Group. I'm with Captain Thames over here to talk about the test event, which you guys have just seen the second video now. So if you follow that QR code, it'll take you to an event page on Facebook, and that's where we're going to release additional information. So please, stay tuned with that one. But if you are a team out there that's interested in competing, this is obviously a squadron throwdown, as you guys can see. So we want to try to find essentially the fittest squadron. We do a lot of testing here with aircrafts and things, so why not test the human weapon system? And this is how we do it. So we're excited for it, and more to follow.
There's the QR code. So the events you're picking, are these things from the functional fitness test that folks like Defenders, EOD, Special Forces take? Is that where you're getting the basis for these events?
In part, sir. A lot of it is focusing on functional fitness, kind of going a little bit beyond the standard PT test standards. There will be some elements in that reinforce those. But this is more functional fitness movements that kind of encompass full body workouts with high intensity in mind, cardiovascular elements as well. And they're all going to be accessible movements that are readily doable by most people. And you don't have to be too intimidated by the movements. We'll release those ahead of time. In addition to some workouts ahead of time too, but we can talk more about that.
Yeah, I'm seeing some themes in the little video snips. So it looks like most of the events are going to be in and around the fitness center. Is that what you're envisioning that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
And then magically the power of video flash, you end up on the medical hill.
Yes.
So you can do the hill climb with the guidons? Is that one of them? You decided yet?
We don't want to reveal too much, and
Don't get ahead of us, boss.
Yeah, I just want to add to there will be other activities involved to this. So if you're looking at the video, it's not just catered to functional fitness. There are other elements that we're looking around right now to introduce and get other people involved as well. So
Good.
more to follow.
Okay, Captain River, get that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
The River Thames. I got it.
That at least gets you pronouncing it right, so I appreciate that.
You bet. I predict success, right? Total success. You guys envision this being a semi-annual, quarterly, annual? What do you envision? And then what are you guys thinking to crown your champion every time you have it?
So the goal is to definitely make this an annual event, really reinforcing that team camaraderie, getting the whole squadrons behind their teams, the people that do volunteer to actually be a part of the competition, leading by example, and hopefully on a yearly basis, people preparing for it, getting the rest of their squadron inspired and motivated to, just be more physically active for all the benefits for that. And there will be a trophy that gets passed around for the crowning squadron. that they're going to get bragging rights with. I'm actually custom building that myself, so
Wow.
it's going to be exciting.
That is cool. You building it so you can put rings below, like the Stanley Cup, as the winners?
Not quite.
Not quite
a little
like that.
more, geared towards fitness than that.
All right.
I'm not going to reveal too much about it. But it's
No,
gonna be a
that's
cool
okay.
trophy.
I love the way you guys are shooting out a little information and nothing else. I like it, building the excitement up. I'll boldly suggest to Colonel Wickert and Chief's replacement that we not only do you do the crowning of the champion at the event, but you also pull them in at a quarterly.
Yeah.
Right, and maybe that's the morale winner.
I like
for
it.
that
Yes,
quarter.
sir.
You know,
Yeah.
something along the.
Good
Or you
work.
get bonus points. So like get a head start or
Yeah,
get
it's like an extra
decibels
5
or
points
something.
for-
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see those two being really good synergy events. Sweet. I'm excited. Thanks for putting this together. And you're right. Sure. The human weapon system. I love the word test. And you know what else you said? It was another trigger word for me in a good way. What was it? What was the other word you said that was one of my triggers?
Was it teamwork?
It was compete.
Yes, there you go.
Yes, it was compete. And I like that attitude. I like that. This is a Fields of Friendly Strife thing that I like a lot because it builds the warrior attitude so that we can actually go compete against our real adversary and everything else we do. So,
Yes,
I like
sir.
it too.
Exactly.
I'm glad you're here. Thanks for the update. Chief, you got anything for him?
No.
Before we let them go work out some more so they can start
Yeah.
figuring out how to win the trophy that Captain Thames is
The river, yes,
yeah,
Captain River.
Captain River.
That's stacking the team, right? Getting ready for it. Now, honestly, though, thank you for putting it together. This really can be a wing-wide thing. It doesn't have to be just squadrons per se, and it really aimed more at resilience. All the pillars are resilience, and I think that's where we're going to build this into. There's going to be some camaraderie opportunities. Go out there, cheer your team on, and but really getting everybody out together in one area. It's a lot of benefit.
Yes, Chief. And I'd be mistaken if I didn't give some special thank you and shout out to our team at FSS. I know Miss Mika, Miss Emily, Mr. Aaron Feinberg, who just got here. This is an FSS event, and they've really been instrumental in helping us, advance this. So.
Okay. That question's for you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So is this a military only? No, it is open for active duty, dependents, civilians. So anybody can compete as long as you're part of that unit. I mean, however you make up your team demographic is really up to you. We will release some more, specific requirements to the team makeup, but you could have anywhere up to 6, minimum of 4, and you have to have at least 1 female. So again, there's an infographic that our graphics department at FSS went ahead and made. So please check that out when you get a chance, and then follow that QR.
Yeah, so I'll push something here real quick while you guys read this question. Teams of 6 show up. I like that a lot. And when you talk about the unit, so it's a Team Edwards Squadron Throwdown. But as many of you know, and many of us have served in, our fighting element in the modernization fight is not a squadron. Our fighting element in the modernization fight is a combined task force. And so I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm betting that if CTF XYZ wanted to compete as a CTF, you guys would rush them in as the unit, right?
Sure. Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so some of them may be busier than others, but boy, there's some bragging rights amongst CTFs as well.
Oh, I'm
You
sure.
get bragging
Yeah,
rights
that'd be
among the
great.
squadron, the installation squadrons. You get bragging rights between we had the defenders are gone, but you could challenge Security Forces Det 1 and Security Forces Main. So you can do all kinds of internal things, not just one champion, but bragging rights among as well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. So you want to answer that one? Do we know yet? It's probably a real good FSS question though.
We do. So we are going to have it, and that's a yes. There will be booths, other vendors, and things like that. Obviously, we don't have a final list, but we are working on finalizing and gathering up all the possible vendors that's going to be there. But it will be there will be some element of that. Yes.
Perfect.
So if you're a vendor and you want to participate or you'd like to figure out how to be a vendor, contact FSS. I suspect it'll be on that QR code, and if you don't find it there, you can easily Google 412th FSS, and it'll pop, and you can get a hold of anybody, and they'll be able to connect you with the vendors and the sponsors team, the marketing team. Okay, sure, Captain, great to have you here.
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
excited. Send me some notes.
Yeah, sir.
Maybe I'll have to convince the test center to put a team together.
Yes. Oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get them up there and
Yeah, I can see I don't know, my boss, his chief, me, and maybe somebody else. That's 3. We got to find Dr. B. There you go.
Yeah, Dr. B, there you go.
There you go. There's 4,
Yeah.
right? We got all the criteria.
Awesome. Yeah.
Sher's laughing at us.
We do have a question for you real quick, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who do you have your, money on, per se? In
Oh, I
regards to
can't. I
this
can't bet. That would be unfair. Sure. Come on, man. Come on.
Just got to ask.
Yeah. I'll see what the lines are in Vegas, and then after that, I'll place my money.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thanks for
All right,
having
guys.
us.
Happy Friday. I'm glad
Yes,
you're
sir.
here.
Thank you.
I am excited. I know Chief Ward's super proud of you guys.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I think we're through our FSS charts. We've talked about test. We talked about, and I was out of order. We talked about hey, there's money again.
Yes, sir.
Now, it's not perfect, and there's going to be
great
some.
news.
There's going to be some work, some rats through the snake that have to get worked out, or kinks in the rope, or whatever it is. But there'll be things like that need to work out. And then we met a couple awesome Warriors of the Week from the Security Forces Squadron.
Yes, sir.
But one of the things that I get to do on this broadcast is I get to say, thank you for your service, Swiss.
Yes, sir.
In the stunt double.
Yes, sir.
You may not know this, but the front office team is not going to let you leave without appropriate refreshments.
Excellent,
So if you were planning to run home to Tiffany and the little one immediately after the broadcast, not quite yet.
Yes, sir.
We can't wait to thank you in person there.
Looks like
You guys,
Nicole.
so what you don't, some of you may have know this, but in the studio here, what's actually behind us is a green screen. So turn that beautiful F-16 off for a second. Just hit pause on that video. So we're in a studio. Behind us is a green screen,
Yes.
and then in front of us,
now we're in
now we're in
space.
nowhere, yeah. And then in front of us is a monitor that shows us what should be being broadcast. There are 4 cameras here, and there's a little light on them that tells us which camera is being broadcast. There you go. So that's unedited, but yeah, it's actually that color. It's amazing, and it's in your face. And there, I saw a little friend run across the bottom of the screen there.
Yes, sir.
In the last event. And then in front of us also we have a way for the control booth to text in, hey, don't forget about, or you misspoke this, or here's the question. And what one of our front office team just texted in for Chief Swistak to see was always my Rent-A-Chief.
Yes.
And Swiss, I appreciate you stepping into the breach. Usually it's a day or a week or an event. This has been a longer haul.
Yes, sir.
It was literally flawless and without missing a beat from my perspective. That means a lot. It is also great that you were able to drop right in on my communications and my talking points and all those other things. In fact, if you were at the tech release party last Friday, Swiss went through all my talking points and only left me one, which is not a bad thing because that means I talk less. But
Yes.
it was great, and I appreciate that partnership. I think you're doing fantastic work. I'm sure Colonel Blecker and the MSG team will be glad to get you back down there full
yes.
time, and hopefully we'll have some awesome news to announce in the not distant future about an assignment.
Yes, sir.
So I love it. It's been I'm proud to have worked with you and served with you. But I don't know if they're going to swap out, or we're going to do this nice, or make him just poof out of nowhere. But he's here, folks. He's here permanently. Yeah, it's Stoltz, Chief Stoltzfus, and he is my neighbor, kind of across the street, and a little bit to the right. His better half has been there for a month. I hope she left you at least one box to unpack. Fantastic. I saw him bobbing his head up and down when we were talking about DROS. He was most recently the command chief at Incirlik there, and I bet you heard the wailing from folks that had their DROS extended back there. I'm glad you escaped, my friend.
Yes, sir.
And so glad you're here. He is Chief Ward's replacement, but because of where he was, they couldn't do an overlap in the job, so he came out TDY a couple times, so they did get some face-to-face time. But he's here. First day on the job was Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Day 3?
Day 3 today, yes.
And you know how I know he's still a newbie?
Oh, the booms.
Because if there's a sonic boom on this broadcast, you're going to laugh. Because Stoltz is that new.
Yes, sir.
And first time at Edwards, clearly.
Yes, sir.
But it has been a joy to watch you transition these last 3 days, and I'm pleased to get this short opportunity to overlap with you. Normally, I would set somebody up by saying, "Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself." But genuinely, Stoltz, tell us a little bit about yourself. And it doesn't need to be long. And Nicole's going to cut you off in 11 minutes anyway. And I want to make sure we leave time for a question or two. But how about this? How about fun fact?
Fun fact. I'd like to first take an opportunity to say thank you to Swiss as well.
Absolutely.
Because if anybody appreciates what he's done here for the team, it's me. And gave me a soft place to land. And to you, boss, as you transition out, thank you for this awesome opportunity. I know it doesn't come easy. The decisions don't come easy because there are some great candidates. So thank both of you for this opportunity for me and Jess and our family to come down here and join Team Edwards. So, the fun fact is, I just drove a 2005 Toyota Tundra across the country to get here, and with my 22-year-old son. So that was quite an experience, and not sure I want to do it again in the next 2 years, but it was a great experience. Got to spend some time with him, like the boss said earlier. I just returned from a year apart from my family, so it was a welcome opportunity to spend some time with my son, and really appreciated it. So I guess my mic's off and you didn't hear any of that, so I'll turn it on, and then we'll go back through that.
He's new,
I'm not
right?
sure if that was set up or,
He's new. So for those of you that read lips, it'll be a little bit boring, but we'll let him answer the questions again. Maybe you heard him through my mic. So it's not always unfair, but occasionally you'll get asked questions, and it'll be who, what, where, when, why. See the beautiful 412 test wing patch there?
Yeah, that's nice.
I love
Yes,
it.
sir.
Yeah, as if we planned that. So Stoltz, I'll give you my fun fact.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I get asked, "Hey, you're a pilot." Yes. "Hey, you're a test pilot." Some days. "What do you do?" And I say, "Well, I'm upper middle management." Some days, and then occasionally I get to be a pilot, and I enjoy it. And I get asked often, "What's your favorite airplane?" And so I often ask, "Well, I don't know. Here's a list of some that I've had a chance to fly. What do you think my favorite airplane in that list would be?" And I'm totally setting people up when I ask them that question, because I have a very straightforward answer, and it is always the same. Literally, my favorite airplane is the next one I get to fly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I also look forward to being humbled by my next airplane too. Once you get a little full of yourself as an aviator or other things, like, I don't know, riding motorcycles, riding dirt bikes, hiking, any of those, I would say jumping out of airplanes. I assume I've only done that 4 times, and it was a long time ago. But once you get a little overly confident, then you start to become super dangerous. And so I look forward to being humbled by my next airplanes. I learn a lot from them each and every time, and I thoroughly enjoy it. The first airplane I owned was when I was stationed in Alaska, and I did some quick math. And while it isn't cheap to fly an airplane per hour, it is actually slightly less than laying on a therapist's couch per hour, and the view's better. So that was how I like to spend some time. And Alaska was a gorgeous place to just go burn a couple hours and do that. But that was a Citabria. It was yellow and white. And you remember Swiss? You remember Brigadier General Rothy, Kevin Rothy, the center IMA? Yeah, we were captains and we owned the airplane together.
Wow,
so,
that's
tiny
beautiful.
world. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that's my fun fact.
That's quite a fun fact there.
Yeah.
Mine
So
wasn't quite
you
as
can
good
thank
as that.
Stoltz again. Stoltz, you can thank Swiss again. It's going to take me a while because he likes to hear it at least twice. And then tell us a little bit about yourself and answer your fun fact now that your mic's working.
Okay, yeah, so a little bit about myself. I am Chief Master Sgt. Justin Stoltzfus, coming from Incirlik Air Base, like we said earlier. Been serving our great Air Force in our country for 26 years. CE by background. Spent 5 years as a first sergeant as well, most of the time overseas. Got lucky enough to get Minot Air Force Base, as you heard Tech Sergeant Shannon talk about earlier. A lot of the people that might talk down on an installation like Minot Air Force Base are individuals who haven't been there.
Yes.
Right?
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. 3 things that make a great assignment are location, people, and mission. And I'll take 2 out of 3 odds any day, and we had all that up there in Minot. So then had an opportunity to serve in LA, which I didn't know there was an installation in Los Angeles until I saw it on the AMS and got picked up there. And then, of course, had the honor to go to Incirlik and then on here to Edwards Air Force Base to join Team Edwards. I do have a beautiful wife, Jessica, and 2 older children. They're not children, really. I guess they're adults.
2 adults.
2 adults, yeah. I like to say that because she calls them the boys. Sometimes we refer to them as our kids still, but they're not. They're actually grown adults and great humans they turned out to be. Dylan, who is up in Northern California working with Jess's dad, building homes. And my younger son, Aiden, who is actually here on Edwards with us right now, home from college. He attends, I said it wrong last time. I said UC Boulder, and it is CU Boulder. So he corrected me on that, and so did his mom. But yes, he's attending CU Boulder and is home enjoying some free food, some free Wi-Fi, and some time off from school. So Fun fact about myself, as I said earlier, and you might not have heard because the mic was off, but yeah, I got the experience to drive across country with my older son, flew out, met me. I picked up a few things. I'm from Pennsylvania, and we got to journey out here and spend some much needed time together after being gone for a year. So thanks for the opportunity. And again, thanks to Chief Swiss for holding the seat down and doing a phenomenal job. Hopefully I can do at least half of what you've done in the last 2 months.
I tell you, a blessed commander is a commander that has not one but two command chiefs.
Cool.
And I'm literally got one to my right and one to my left in the studio right now. And only one can wear the star, but you're both command chiefs.
Cool.
It's been great. So I'm going to throw out a fun fact, and maybe it's not yours, but I watched across the street. Stoltz and I were talking about some work, and out walks Jess and Aiden, right?
Aiden, yes, sir.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, Dad, we're not going to drive the car today because we don't want to get stopped by somebody seeing us drive circles.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm kind of like, what? And then he told me.
Yep. So my son does Pokemon Go, and he's like, Dad, hey, can I use the truck? And I was like, yeah, no problem. And he comes home, and he's like, hey, Dad, I need to tell you something. And I was like, what's going on, Aiden? Did you wreck the truck? That's the first thing I thought. And he's like, no, I got stopped because I went around Palo Verde 17 times, and an individual stopped me and said, hey, what are you doing here? So that was his first introduction to some of my teammates here.
That was his first introduction to Colonel James Valpiani, the brand new TPS Commandant. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So, yeah, and so when we were, I can't remember what night that was, but they walked out.
Yes.
So and evidently there was a successful catch.
Yes, there was. So that's one thing we do together. I thought it was kind of silly when we started doing it, but it's just another way to find time to spend together, and we have a lot of fun, and we get some fitness in doing it. So it's pretty good. I can't believe I just admitted that on air, that I do Pokemon
Don't worry.
Go.
And it's recorded forever.
It won't hang in the internet forever.
That's
yeah.
right.
So that's another great example, and Stoltz has already hit it. Swiss has as well. If you get to a location, this is certainly one of those. If you get to a location and expect it to be something that it can never be,
That's right.
Yes.
you're not going to be happy, right? If you get to Fairbanks, Alaska, and Eielson, and you want it to be warm, balmy, and sunny 10 months out of the year, you're going to be miserable. However, if you get to a place like Edwards and you go, holy cow, it is a great place to be out and around, shoulders, weekend, you enjoy the desert, you find some running trails. My dogs absolutely adore the desert. We take them out there, and they love chasing things. To include, one of them chases the ball, and the other one chases rabbits. But they love it. And so if you try to make a place something it can't be, you're not going to be awesome. You're not going to be happy. But if you really double down on what's there and go out and learn it and enjoy it, you're going to have a blast. And that's true at all the Air Force installations that I've been stationed at. Easter Sunday this year and Easter Sunday in 2020 were two of the best super bloom poppy seasons that I've seen in a long time. They don't happen every year, but when they do, and if you are here, you got to go do it.
Oh yes.
It's it's a bucket list kind of thing. So yeah, there's just so much to do here, and I would imagine this is a good Pokemon Go place because there's plenty of places to go out and around and do that. It's pretty cool.
It is.
Well, Stoltz, so here's a question for you.
Okay.
And then while you're thinking about, that's a tough question, because if somebody were to flip that question for me, I would say no. I never thought about that.
That's right.
But it is somewhat. Not planned, not intended, but it is really symbiotic, for my last big word of the day, that the week we get, maybe even the day we get, a command chief that's a what? He's a CE guy.
CE troop?
That's right. Yes,
Fitzgerald starts its paving.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
Right?
That's right.
And so as we're walking over here today to the thing, Stoltz is like, don't get excited yet, don't get excited yet. It needs 72 hours.
Absolutely.
And then you can be excited.
At least
right?
72 hours, right.
So all it took was me to hire a command chief with a CE background, and magically the roads get paved.
That's right.
That's what I'm taking away from this.
No, I'll tell you, it is unique that you get the opportunity to have a project like that done on your base, and good on whoever pushed that envelope, because when I first got here, that's one of the first things I noticed was the dun-da-dun as you went down that Fitzgerald Road. And I can't imagine riding a bike across it. I have a truck and I could barely get across it. So thank you for whoever pushed that across the envelope. But yeah, I know out here, boss made a comment earlier, you don't even need the torch to heat that stuff up. So we'll see what it does in about 3 days, and I'm sure it'll be fine. And thanks for the team that's out there enduring that heat and making our place better for our teammates. So
Yeah, and if that team needs another hand, I bet I can find a chief with some background that would love to
That's right.
love to go out and get sweaty and dirty.
That's right. I saw him paving the other day, and boy, I wanted to jump out and get in that roller. Something fierce, I'll tell you.
Yeah. So, Nicole's telling us you got 1 minute to answer the question that
Okay.
you politely dodged.
Okay, so
go ahead.
yes, sir. Thank you. So did I ever envision, as a new airman, I didn't envision being a command chief when I became a chief. It's an honor to even get nominated to this position. And when I think about being a young airman, I had aspirations to move up in the ranks. But I will tell you, if you're an inspiring young airman, the one thing you need to do is appreciate where you're at, find somebody that's successful, where you want to be, and latch onto those individuals and ask them how they got there, and the sky's the limit for you. So to answer the question, with no bureaucracy, no, I did not think about it as a young airman, but I'm blessed to be here today.
Sweet. And we're at time, so I don't have to say my farewells. See, I made it without crying. Look at that.
I think we should hear a farewell,
So,
though, right?
folks, one of the things that I get asked a lot, what are you going to do after you hand off the wing? I'm going to transition to civilian status and get my promotion to Mr. kind of thing. And then they ask me, how's it been? And those are the kinds of questions. It is so much, and it's been so long. 1,200 plus days in the job right now. Been a minute and been a thing or two. But one of the philosophies that I learned a while ago, it is tough to hand off a unit. And I would assume it's similar as to be the chief or the SEL or the shirt of that unit too. It's tough to walk away from it because you quite literally pour yourself into it. A lot of people would say blood, sweat, tears, or heart and soul. I actually didn't bleed into the unit too much, but there's a lot of you in it, and I like the analogy. I can't remember where I read it or heard it, but century or more ago in Persian culture, you would grow up as a child with in one village or family area, and then when you got married, you left that family unit and you never returned.
Wow.
Yeah, and the story there isn't that, oh my gosh, that's wrong. The story is appreciate it while you got it.
Yes.
And know that when the time is up, the time is up. And if that time is up for me on August 18th in the wing, which it is, then I cherish the minutes that I have. They're not all fun, but they are all very worthwhile, and they've all been very rewarding. And so I try to leave it better than I found it. Stoltz, you are so in for a treat with Colonel Doug Wickert.
I'm excited.
Just don't try and outrun him. But I'll tell you, if the 412 Test Wing on October 13th puts together a team with Doug Wickert on it, I'm not even trying. I mean, that guy is that good. But maybe I'll kneecap him, and then the test center,
That's right.
where I'm going for a while, will have a chance. But yeah, so I'm thrilled that I get a hand off to a good friend of mine that I've known for just shy of 20 years. I'm elated at the people that have thrown their hat in the ring, like Swiss, like Stoltz, like all the commanders and the front office teams, plural, all of them, the execs and everybody, that they've thrown their hat in the ring and they've stepped up. A big change that you haven't noticed because it's already operational, but boy, Swiss, having a new DS,
Yes,
having the
sir.
position and the guy that's in the position, he's a friggin' rock star.
Yes.
And
Hands
the
down,
fact
yes,
that the
sir.
DS is a rock star means the vice is freed up, and
Sure.
the synergies are amazing. And so to leave it better than you found it, you may never see the child again analogy to Syrian to that culture. It's rewarding, and I'm happy to do it. But I'm not saving any gas in the tank.
right.
And when I cross the finish line on August 18th, I'm going to hold out one hand and say, where's my bottle of water? I'm going to hold the other hand out and say, where's my banana? And I'm going to go eat my banana, drink my bottle of water, and I'm going to stretch like I do after every endurance event that I finish, and sleep a lot, spend a lot of extra time with my dogs, my kids, and my much better half, and then start planning next phase. So town halls, live town halls. We started in the pandemic. Next week, I believe. So was that the plan?
Yes, sir.
Next week.
Best of.
Next week they're going to try best of, and I said bloopers. We'll see. They're going to be bloopers because we got some events that are running the whole day on Friday, so we won't have anybody to put in front of camera. The 11th will be some stunt doubles, and then on the 18th it'll be quarterly awards with Colonel Wickert and Chief Stoltz. Doing that. So this is my last time on the broadcast live. I don't plan to come back as a guest. You guys don't want me here anyway.
Plan.
No, I don't plan. I don't plan to do that. Maybe when my team wins the test event.
Yes,
maybe then. But yeah, they're telling us August 4th is the best of, And it's been a good forum. Thanks for the engagement. Thanks for the interaction. Thanks for participating. Thanks for listening. Thanks for engaging. Thanks for talking. And this doesn't happen without what you do. And if it's valuable for you, then let us know. Let Colonel Wickert and Chief Stoltzfus know, and let them know what we can do better or different as well. So my last thing before I say have a great weekend, Stoltz, welcome. Glad you're here. I promise eventually you won't jump as hard or as fast with the sonic booms. Swiss, thanks again for doing the dual-hatted work. I've been dual-hatted many times, and it ain't fun and it ain't easy, but you're going to go relax a little bit and go, wow, that was awesome.
Yes,
and
sir.
your one job will seem like, oh, that's not so bad anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
and
sir.
that's a great thing. To everybody else that's helped us get through this transition, fantastic. But one of the things that I want to foot stomp here, and they don't get enough credit for it, we are literally the benefactors of an exquisite team of professionals
Yes.
called Public Affairs. I'm not going to make them parade out in front of the camera because I don't have time, and Nicole will roll her eyes anyway. But you know who you are. You're the ones tweaking the dials in the booth. You're the ones helping Nicole type stuff in. You're calling up videos. You're hey, tomorrow for Townhall, let's go, blah, and they make it happen. Right? They redesigned, rebuilt. We used to be in this little tiny studio, and now we're in a larger one. We can rotate people out, and the acoustics are better. The streams are solid. I'm able to go back and find them, and on and on and on. So the town halls are important places, and you make that happen. So my last debt of gratitude, my last accolade here in my final couple minutes in this town hall is thank you, Public Affairs, thank you, Media Fusion, and thank you, the communications professionals that participate in and make this a reality. And with that, I need everybody to go be safe, drink a lot of water. It is Friday, and it's a super hot weekend. Yes, but please be careful and certainly enjoy. So thanks, folks. And not just signing off for now, but like signing off from the center of the aerospace testing universe. Have a great weekend, everybody.
That's sad. Yeah. It is.